Well, in this bill, for the first time, in this package of bills, for the first time, the legislature tied together several bills and said each bill does not take effect unless the other bills take effect. So the substantive bills imposing the tax do not take effect unless the appropriations bill takes effect. We believe what that does is that it means that every legislator who has a project in the appropriations bill or who has something in the revenue bill, if he cares about that, he's compelled to vote for both bills, all the projects and all of the revenue increases. And we don't think that's the way things should be done. That's not a single subject.
What about the argument that you need funding in order to have projects, and that's why they are reasonably tied together? It's a common sense argument. It was what was argued.
Well, I certainly agree that if a legislature is going to vote for a series of funding proposals, it wants then to vote for a series of spending proposals for that money. And if it's going to vote for spending, it has to vote for funding to balance the budget, that's for sure. But it doesn't have to be in the same bill. They don't have to be tied together. And it's the kind of thing that in the long run can bankrupt a state because it puts everybody into the process of tax and spend rather than looking at individual items individually.
And I just want to make clear, you argued that even if the court were to dismiss one part of the package of bills but leave the others in place, you don't think they should do it. It's kind of an all or nothing argument.
What I argued was that number one, I do believe that these bills violate the single subject rule. But number two, if they disagree, and it's their decision, I think there are other rules they violate. They're equally important in that several of the bills would be unconstitutional for those reasons.
Can you expand on that argument you made about the sort of the pent-up demand? I think Justice Thomas was saying, it had been 10 years since a major capital bill had passed, and you referenced the impeached governor. I mean, what was the point you were trying to make there? And
we had an unfortunate experience in Illinois for several years, a governor who didn't want to address the General Assembly and who did not want to work with the General Assembly. And for other reasons as well, he was impeached and removed. Now, what he did was to destroy trust in state government. You no longer had a situation where if a legislator made a deal with the governor, he could trust him. Or if a legislative leader made a deal with the governor, he could trust him. I don't believe Governor Quinn falls into those circumstances at all. I think he's a trustworthy man. I might disagree with him on some things, but he's a very honorable man. But it takes time to restore trust to an institution after it's been destroyed. And what I argued, very simply, I think, was that if the substitute for trust is unconstitutional behavior, that's unsatisfactory.